Yeah, I checked the team and before it, and I saw Fred and McTominay, and I went, oh, that's a weird one. And then I went, oh, Pogba's not playing. And I thought Pogba, looking at back at that a lot of that game, Pogba was a huge miss for them. It's been that kind of player who's dragged them out of games at times this year. But I definitely think Manchester United, when they don't have Pogba and they play McTominay and Fred in central midfield, I don't think they control games well enough. The West Brom were so easy at times to just get out from their kind of their kind of defensive side or system, if you like, and they could get out, and how many attacks they got through. And Fred and McTominay at the minute, I don't think they have enough football in there, and I don't think one of them is good enough to play in there on his own. You know what United should be looking to do is kind of try and get a Wilfred Ndidi or a Yori Tielemans or both, because if you have Ndidi in there, it just enables to have a Donny Van De Beek playing in there, someone who is good enough to play in there on his own, and it's not an easy buy at the minute. Those kind of players.
So what you're saying, if Van de Beek was to start centre mid, you don't think Fred or McTominay alongside him is good enough
No,
to have Van de Beek in there? Okay, because a
no,
lot of
and I
United
think
fans want Van de Beek in that number 8 role.
yeah, and I think that's probably why Ollie hasn't played him, because I think Matic is probably someone who could, but he probably hasn't got the legs anymore. Or even someone like a Declan Rice would do brilliantly for Manchester United. Massive interest in him. That kind of Michael Carrick kind of player in there on his own who can just link the play and get the move. And I think that's, at the moment, that's probably their biggest weakness. That and the form of Rashford and Martial, in terms of they're not hitting the heights they should do when they have a player like Bruno Fernandes providing chances for them, even half chances. I think Rashford is probably in a major position or a major moment where, if you look at him, Sterling, Rashford, Grealish, Foden, all guys who can kind of play in off the wing, only one of them is probably or only two of them can start for England, really, unless Grealish plays as a 10 or whatever. And, Rashford at 23 has so many caps for England. He's been a huge part of everything they've done, but he's not playing his best stuff at the moment. So he can't kind of get dragged into a battle for that. And I think he's a quality player, but long term, I think, is he going to be the answer to Manchester United centre forward problems? Probably not. Could he be developed into one? I'm sure he could. But definitely at the moment, Manchester United are kind of, I think they've found their level in terms of they're definitely top four. They've got the players to be top four. Defensively, they have a huge problem with centre back.
Yeah, Maguire is a big bone of contention with a lot of speaking to a few United fans. You kind of, can you get someone alongside a fast lad, basically like Bailly, or is Maguire just too slow for a Manchester United type defence when they really want to dominate games like West Brom away? He could get done on the counter attack, and just because you've someone really fast beside you, I know Lindelof played, so they didn't. But say, for example, Bailly was playing on Sunday. Maguire's still going to be left in those one-on-one situations where he's just not fast enough, and he's so many good attributes as a centre back. There's a reason United paid 80 million for him. But is his lack of pace ultimately going to cost United if they do want to properly challenge for a title in a normal season?
Yeah, I actually thought he'd one of his best games in possession. He made a lot of really good runs. He was playing quite high up the pitch, trying to galvanise his side. But it is one of them where I definitely think he's a good enough defender, but they need to find a partnership. And then when they do find a partnership of a Maguire, I don't think Tyrone Mings is the answer, but a Maguire and, like you said, someone a little bit quicker. So it'd be Maguire or Boy. Probably need to have an extra level of a goalkeeper in there, really, because they're still going to concede chances, and they kind of need that Addison or Allison kind of Neuer, Courtois, or not Courtois recently, but all black level of a goalkeeper who just makes no mistakes. And De Gea has made a few mistakes when United have been caught short at the back. But it's a weird one, Maguire, because I think he is a good defender, but I don't think he uses his presence well enough. I don't think he's that nasty centre back that United kind of need. I don't think he's commanding enough of his size, of his presence. I think he gets bullied a lot.
Is there a case for dropping him?
No,
I don't think so either.
No, he if you actually look at how many games he's played, in all competitions. He rarely misses a game. You know, you can't play
I was just
without
going
him.
to, when was the last time? And in fairness to him, for a lot of United's good performances, he's been a constant there as well. And I think overall he is a very good captain for United, which is probably a few reasons why he's still in the team, I guess.
Yeah, I think he just probably they need to find a way of getting him to use his presence, his size. If you look at Van Dijk, he's commanding. Um, you know, there's all this talk, you know, with Van Dijk or Troy Deeney and saying, oh, he even smells good, or you play against Virgil van Dijk and you want to mark the other centre back. And I think people probably look at Harry Maguire and your man Dean, who started for West Brom, probably thought, yeah, I'm gonna have a crack at both of these. I'm not too afraid of them. And unless Maguire changes, that makes it harder for players to play against him. He definitely needs a centre back partner, but how many quick centre backs are for on the market? Again, it's probably something that a lot of teams want. A lot of teams need a good centre half, but Manchester United certainly have the financial power to find one. It's one of them. I think at the back to the centre halves, essentially, if you can find a good partnership, I mean, it can make two defenders look really good. You know, you look at Gary Cahill now. I know he's a lot older for Crystal Palace, but at times this season when I've watched him, I've gone, how is this lad won Premier Leagues for Chelsea? How is he? But he played alongside John Terry and he was really good, and then he kind of got better from that. And I think if Maguire can find someone, or they can get a partnership going, even with a left footer and a right footer with Maguire, it could possibly work, and they could be looking here. I don't think Maguire is Manchester United's big problem. I definitely think they're probably a centre back short in terms of you can't trust Boy's fitness. I think Lindelof can have good games, and then you think he's turned a corner, and I think he's a little bit like Fred in that, where they're good, but I don't
Will
think.
they ever be good enough?
Yeah, I don't think you're gonna. Manchester United want to win the league in the next couple of years. I don't think they can win the league with Fred, McTominay, and Lindelof with Maguire
Do
at
you
the
not
moment.
think with McTominay's potentially?
Well, yeah, I just think it as a partnership. I mean,
Or
you're not
with
going to
Fred?
win with two centre defensive mids for the majority of games in the season, and that's where Pogba. You know, if United lose Pogba now in the summer, I think it could set them back, because Pogba. That's the kind of game Pogba this year has dug them out of, where he's got a goal or he's added that little bit of flair in midfield. But United have spent lots of money, and at times you wonder where it's all gone. And you look at someone like Dan James, who's probably not going to have a long-term future at Manchester United. Look at Van De Beek and think, is he ever going to be a regular starter for Manchester United with Pogba, with Fernandes, at the moment? So I think their recruitment's been good recently, Man United, in the last probably 2 or 3 windows, with Maguire, with Wan-Bissaka, with Fernandes. But I definitely think
Cavani as well.
Cavani, I definitely think they need to get that centre back position right, and maybe they need to make a decision on the goalkeeper as well.